when he fell off out that like building and he like
Mhm.
landed in that Mr. Knight suit,
Hot.
hot. Okay,
Yeah, that was
like
hot.
I was like, that looks good. Like, and
Hmm.
again, when you look back at the posters or anything that they've released with the show, like that Mr. Knight suit looks good. Shout out to Declan Shalvey for designing that because he went off, and they did a
Yeah, he
really
did.
good job at adapting it. I did. Now, in this aspect, I also really like the way that they said that the suit was created because, like, that is what Steven was.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of another relaunch. I am Miles Morales, Spider-Man.
Oh, that's nice. Miles is nice. I'm going to be White Fox.
Ooh, a new
Marvel
girl on the
character.
block.
Yeah, so I've kind of been getting into her a little bit more. She has a Infinity comic on Marvel Unlimited right now, and I remembered reading her Death of Doctor Strange tie-in, and I kind of enjoyed that, and so I started reading this, and I enjoyed that. So I think I'm gonna do a little deep dive, go back to some of her appearances. I know she appeared in that Agents of Atlas book that has a lot of the Asian superheroes as a team. So you know, Marvel got the all black team. Can I take it there?
Let's take it there. Absolutely, let's take it there.
you
Like an
know,
Agents of
I,
something.
I I feel like they tried with Al Ewing. Shout out to him because he loved a black person with his
Yeah, he
Mighty
did.
Avengers run to
Might have
make them
been.
like Black Avengers.
Yeah.
But we still had like She Hulk and all those little people in there, and that was cool, whatever. Then I feel
Mhm.
like even they tried to do it with Black Panther and the crew, but it was like I didn't want to read them. Like it was like
I need
Mystique,
that.
the Cage, Storm was in it. She was cool. I guess it technically would be the crew, but I don't think
I don't know. They give like, oh, that's no shade to like, you
they
know,
do. They get
the
real
mentor
old.
level people, but like they giving like 55, and I'm not at that
Like,
right now.
it's giving dated. Like I can't. But then it's just like
It's like giving
where they
parent.
at? And even like when you think of what's his faces, T'Challa's Agents of Wakanda, they had Wasp on it.
Oh. Why every time they gotta like try to legitimize it with a white person on there too?
Whatever. That was just something that was
Child,
just on my mind thinking about that. But nonetheless, I'm gonna get into White Fox and go read some Agents of Atlas.
yeah, get into it. Let us know. Let me. You know what? Let me know if I'm gonna like wave. I've been meaning to get into her, and I know
Ooh, she's the
she's like
water girl, right? She's got a hot design.
yeah, she's got a really hot design, a little crop top thing, and she's got like water swords or something, and I think she's hydrokinetic.
We
But I
love
don't
the
know where
water
she's
there.
from. She might be from like Atlantis or something. I don't know. I might want to get into her.
I don't know. Marvel Atlantis is not that exciting to me.
Oh, maybe they need to do like a revamp or something down there. Cause like, what is even Marvel Atlantis?
I don't know. I also don't like Namor though, so that could be a big part of it. And I don't like Namorita. Remember when I went back and read New Warriors? I did not like her.
Oh yeah, well yeah, she's kind of annoying a little bit. Yeah, I like Namor though.
Mhm. That's fine.
I like a
How are
little
you doing?
attitude. I'm good. I'm great. It's been hot as hell all week. It's been like
Oh.
90 degrees. Like
Oh.
it changed. It's yeah. Like something ain't right. I was like,
It's just like, oh.
it went from like 75 randomly to like 90 degrees the last 4 days. Like 90 to
So
95.
it's been really cold in DC and it's been raining a lot. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know which one you
It
it's like I don't know. I think I'd rather be
ain't
able to
that
go
bad, I
outside
guess.
because yeah. So whatever.
Okay. Well, Other than that, yeah, I've been great. How about you? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I had a nice week. I was catching up on a lot of shows. Did you start watching Young Justice?
I haven't caught up yet because I'm doing a rewatch. I've been like
Oh,
rewatching the past season to like jump
hmm
back into. I started season 3.
okay. I guess that's fine. It's Calder's arc. It's over already, I think. So that was quick, but it was
Oh,
cool.
didn't give him? Oh well, they drop a lot of episodes at once, right? Don't they?
So they dropped 3 episodes at once, and so the first 3 were his, and then the one that just came out this week was, I guess, like the final part of his story. So it
Okay,
was like
okay.
we got it all, but it was just like, oh, okay, it's already over.
Oh no, how'd you feel about it? Was he doing the damn thing?
I liked it. I think so. I like the new structure of Young Justice and how it's kind of focusing on one of the heroes, but like we're getting little parts sprinkled in. I think the parts that got sprinkled in were his are kind of weird though. Like they've been doing some of Halo's plot, and then I won't tell you the other one because it kind of spoils the story. And like the Halo plot, kind of it was like really good what they did with her, but I felt like it should have been in the Artemis section because she lives with her.
Oh,
Um,
well, yeah. She's like under that umbrella.
and Yeah, and so I feel like there were parts that were ingrained in Calder's story that didn't really help further his story. So it doesn't actually feel like he's in it as much as he should be. But I did like a lot of stuff they were doing with Atlantis. But then again, that's also my thing, like when they were mixing some of those parts. And I feel like there was some backstory they should have given us on Atlantis and like the unrest. It's always an unrest. They never want Arthur to be king and blah, blah, blah. They mad about something. But like the thing about Young Justice's Atlantis is that it's way more fleshed out than the comics version, and they've like added a lot of new stuff and like the way they're like different cities, they have brand new ones. Kyle Durham is like someone completely different, so it would be nice to see a little bit more of that, and that's what I thought we were going to get. But then it's like, no, we're still talking about Beast Boy. Get him out of here.
Oh, well, he dealing with depression. He's still sad, even though he
Okay,
been
wait
sad all
till
season.
I don't want to
Okay,
see, and then
yeah.
she
I'm
popped
still,
up too. Like I don't want to see her. I don't know. Get her out of here.
yeah. I gotta catch up. I've got to catch up. I'm still
It's good.
in season 3.
It's still
Yeah.
really good though. Um, I enjoyed a lot. Like obviously, like the power users, the stuff we did get to see of Atlantis was great. I liked the direction they took. They are taking Atlantis. And I like some of the family stuff that we get in there too. It's cool. We'll see. There's a lot of potential, spin-off potential actually.
Oh, okay. Did they bring that boy in there with him, or he got a new man?
The when he's there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
And then did you? I don't know if you saw. They just
Couch,
announced that
they were
they're
there.
okay.
What a man.
He really did. No, did you see they announced they're going to do an adaptation of his like young adult novel, and Charlize Theron is going to be producing
Oh.
or executive producing it.
Oh, that's dope. A queen.
Yeah, it's going. I know, right? It's going to be on HBO Max. I was like, come on, get in the show.
Okay. Wow. Damn.
Period.
Everything that you're getting for Calder, I've always wanted for Static.
Yeah. Oh.
Well,
He's
one day.
got a movie. Michael B. Jordan's working on it, I think. Isn't he?
All right, so let's go ahead and get into the comics of the week. First up, we have Black Widow number 15, and this is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Elena Crosgande. And sadly, this is the last issue of the run, which is wild in my opinion because I mean, every month I've talked about how much this has been a fantastic series. The handle that Kelly has on Natasha's voice and
Yeah.
White Widow and all the other characters that are in it and the story that they've been telling has actually been really engaging. Like, I was nervous for Homegirl when she was fighting Living Blade. Like, I was like, I don't think she's gonna make it. but I am definitely going to be sad to see this one go because I actually really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
This
No,
series.
I'm sorry. It won an Eisner. I would never cancel this book.
Like, come on.
It could be selling like 15 issues a month. Like, I don't care. It's an Eisner winning series. It's
Like, come
staying on the
on.
shelf. I don't know. It's
It's a shame.
I really do think this was probably one of my favorite Black Widow tellings in a very, very long time. I think we've talked about how she gets a lot of books. And I feel like a lot of times they kind of just repeat the same thing, like somebody's after her, or like they don't trust her, or like she's on the run, blah blah blah.
Go back to the rare room.
Okay, we go back to the red room. But I think this book did a really good job in like kind of moving her forward from that, and like the way that it built up her supporting cast and added some people in it, and really just expanded what she does and how she interacts with people. It's just. This was good. The art, like throughout, like Elena Casagrande was amazing. Pimentel was amazing.
Yes.
Torres was amazing. Like no matter who came on the book to draw an issue, it was amazing. Bakuva, I think, did a little bit in here as well. It was just like it's an Eisner-winning series. What do you like? I don't know what else there is to say.
Fantastic series. I mean, this issue pretty much we get the conclusion of the fight between Natasha and the Living Blade. She ends up getting her whole arm chopped off, but then there is he's been I forget the guy's name. What was the villain they were using his blood to create the people with powers? Apogee. He was creating people, giving people superpowers, and there was a person who they called Starfish who could basically regrow limbs, and Natasha was able to get a new arm there. Then they basically have this whole like fight with the Living Sword. Yelena gets involved, and her and Living Sword are going at it. There's this really cool splash page from Elena Casagrande with Natasha like doing all those flips and stuff.
That sword. It was good.
So hot. Yes. Then they save the day, get rid of the Living Blade, and get a bite to eat at the end. And we are left to see that Natasha's gonna go off into the sunset, and we'll see what's next with her. Like I said, I really am gonna miss this series. I had a great time. This is probably easily one of my favorite Natasha runs.
Yeah, like for sure. It's sad to see it go. I mean, I know Elena Casagrande is supposed to be drawing Steve's book, so if you want to continue to follow her and her art, be sure to check out that Captain America series. I think Kelly Thompson's just doing Captain Marvel right now for the big two, plus her own creator-owned stuff on Substack. But I hope to see her name on something again soon.
Yeah,
a new
Kelly. Book. I love her stuff, so like that's my girl. I need to see it.
She can do whatever she wants. Like whatever
she wants. Give her what she wants.
Unless it's Venom.
For sure. What would you rate this issue?
I'd give it a solid 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah. Same.
Like really just
it was a great finale.
Yeah. Really, really good.
Even though it wasn't expected to be a finale, I didn't know that this was going to be the final issue going into it. I didn't see that it was canceled until on Twitter. I saw that this was going to be the last one. And it still felt like a great like final issue.
Yeah. Agreed.
Also, she mentions it on the last page that like this was going to be the end for that. All right, up next is Wonder Woman Historia #2, and this is written by Kelly Sue DeConnick with art by
Gene Ha, right?
Yes. And again, another home run issue. Like, wow. I mean, the thing about like, I had just been bitching last week about like comics, and I was like kind of bored. People doing a lot of talking, and like no one's really doing so much action and stuff. This book has significantly more like talking points than like full on fights or whatever. But if you're gonna do it, you got to give it to me like this, because like the way that the dialogue is expressed between all these characters, the way that they kind of speak to each other, the Amazons, Hippolyta, and the way that she's speaking to all of the gods, you like feel the weight of like their own mission of trying to like make it through the night and rescue all these women, and it is a shame that the words that are being spoken by this very fictional woman and about the things that they experience can be applied to women today
Yeah.
and what women have to endure just to kind of make it through the day and
Mhm.
survive to the next night. It's it's wild. This is a fantastic series.
It is. Shout out to the Kellys. What a way to start the
Okay.
week off.
Yes.
They really did that, and I love this. This what you do. I love warrior women, so it's like this is
Yes.
right up my
Yes.
alley. And like Gene Hall was like a really great follow up for art for this one, and I
Hmm.
think he has his own punch that just draws you in. I think the like kind of painted style like really helps a little bit with this, and just like selling the grandeur of it, and just like it feels like you're like walking through a coliseum or something. You're just seeing the paintings on the wall, and it's just like, yeah, this is great. This is good stuff.
Exactly. And Gene's art, like I am no like art aficionado or like I don't know like I'm like some like connoisseur of art or have taken any art classes or something, but I know
Hmm.
that there's like a image of like I think it's called a golden circle, but you see this a lot whenever
Hmm.
Hera is on the page, and I think that there's supposed to be this like symmetry there with like her movements that you follow, which I think is really cool that he does
Hmm.
with the art.
Yeah, it's good. Pick it up. I don't know. I don't know what they
It's
put
great.
out there for DC Comics, but the stuff is hitting.
I do have to say, they were rescuing these Amazons, and they rescued the one group of Amazons and showed the one woman who had like a burn on her face because some boy
Mm.
like poured oil on her trying to be funny or something and scarred her face. And he didn't even get in trouble. The dad yelled at him because like she would be worthless now.
Mm.
And he couldn't sell her for as much. And another Amazon went into the night and found him and did what needed to be done. I say we look the other way. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Okay.
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 I know she's probably going to get in trouble for killing that little boy, but I mean, that's
We
just the
will
way the cookie crumbles.
we will
That's
take
just
that
the way
into
the cookie shatters,
consideration,
however you want to take it.
and we will let the delegation know. These Black Label books are really good. I was about to say I hope my favorite gets one, but he actually is. So
It's fair. All right. Up next is Devil's Reign #6, and this is written by Chip Zdarsky with
Mhm.
art by Mark Gicchetto. And this is the final issue of the Devil's Reign mini series, I guess you kind of call it, for Daredevil. And I will say that while I did enjoy the entire series and I
Mhm.
really enjoyed the finale, I thought that like the way that it all set up for all of the characters involved to kind of move forward, and especially for Daredevil and Fisk, this felt like it was too small for as big as
Mhm.
it was. Like a lot of characters were in it. I love that the Fantastic Four were in it. Obviously, Sue is my favorite, so I
Mhm.
love that she was there. But like, and there were a lot of other characters. A different Spider-Man were in it, but
Yeah.
like it didn't feel as big as it was trying to portray it to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because it was all happening in just Daredevil and in just this like
Mhm.
miniseries, and sure there were a couple tie-ins or whatever, but it didn't feel like was as big as it was
Mhm.
trying to portray itself to be.
I've seen I mean, I didn't. I tapped out of Devil's Reign pretty early on. I'm obviously going to go back whenever it hits Marvel Unlimited and give it a read through. But I will say I did see a little bit of criticism stemming from people saying that it felt rushed, or that it didn't really feel like it had that impact that it should have had, and that it probably should have just stayed an arc in Daredevil. But as an event that you're trying to sell as this big thing, it probably just didn't click that way.
Right. I mean, it felt like it was should have been as big as like a civil war, but with the way
Mm,
that the themes and everything going on in it, but it wasn't that big.
that.
It was just in Daredevil. I do think it's a great Daredevil story. I really enjoyed everything there. We basically get this big fight against the um Purple Man. He's using his powers and making everyone kind of fight each other, fight all the heroes. And Daredevil and Kingpin have their big matchup, and Elektra shows up because previously she thought that Matt was killed. Everyone on the news heard that people are starting to find out that Kingpin killed Matt Murdock, but honestly, he actually killed Mike. So Elektra's there to kill Kingpin. So they get into it, but then Daredevil shows up and they start fighting Elektra and Mary, Typhoid Mary. They start fighting each other, and
I do like Typhoid Mary.
Daredevil ends up, I won't spoil the way he ends up winning, but I like the way that he ended up doing it, and kind of turning the odds around there. And they set some things up for Luke Cage. He basically is going to end up becoming mayor of Hell's Kitchen, which I think is perfect for him. You know, I think a lot of characters in his boat, in his era, sometimes it's hard to figure out what's them next. But I think giving them roles that you can kind of just wheel them out whenever you need to, instead of having to force them in like an ongoing thing, is a great idea. So like, he may not be able to be Luke Cage on the streets like he was a long time ago because he's already done that. But as mayor, that'd be a cool thing to see him kind of pop up in other people's books and see what he's doing.
I think for Luke, it also just feels really natural in the way that that seems like the way his character would grow. Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of characters who kind of made prominence again, and I want to say maybe like the early 2000s or so, Emma being another one, and the way that those characters have been treated from like then till now feels very natural. It's like every writer has kind of come on and just like furthered their story to like put them in these positions of power where they're supposed to be, and they're very lucky, I say, in that regard.
Yeah,
it just like works out, and like again, there's nothing that's ever like too jarring that you say, oh, this doesn't fit. Like Luke Cage being mayor, yeah, I absolutely see that.
Exactly. Yeah, and then we see Fisk is going to end up doing something bigger than what he was before, or at least that plan was offered to him. And there's a turn of events that happens, some in a brutal way, and yeah, I won't spoil the ending for it because I did think that it was a nice ending and a nice send off for everyone involved.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out. Overall, I would give this issue the art was fantastic. Chiteto's art is great. I would probably give it a 4 out of 5. Overall, I think the entire series probably a 4 out of 5 for sure. It's a great Daredevil. I think it read all 6 issues together will definitely read better than it did like monthly. But I do think it's a great Daredevil event, which probably means it could have been an arc, but whatever. Okay. Up next we have, this is a brand new thing. This is Captain Marvel Annual #1, and this is written by Toan Grobeck and art by Carlos Gomez, and this is Captain Marvel's first annual ever.
Really?
Yeah, her books don't last as long to kind of get one.
But
they do now. Shout out to Kelly Thompson.
I feel like that's but still, like she still had like a lot of books. I feel like at least even the 6th issue gets an annual sometimes.
No, she's never really had annuals.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, tell us about Cap's annual.
So this annual is a fun adventure that happens with Carol and the Starjammers. She's basically out in space. She's out at this kind of casino playing some games with people, making a bet, and the people kind of go back on the bet. They start a fight with her. She gets arrested and thrown into jail. They say that she's arrested on public intoxication and all these other false charges. They send her to this prison. Turns out it was all a plan because this young girl named Bean, who she premiered in a previous Captain Marvel issue as a young girl, as a Kree test subject that Carol had found before. She was with the Starjammers, and she basically sent Carol a message that she was in this jail, she needed help, and she told her that she needed help and you needed to come inside to sneak in to help me. So Carol got herself and she kind of helped girl break out of jail. And it was a nice reunion with the Starjammers. They all kind of like
binary.
They all kind of reminisce about how they were all together. Carol used her powers to kind of help people break out. Her and Corsair are really fun together. She's like, Corsair's like, oh, how are we gonna break out of here? Carol just like uses her powers and blasts her way out, and he's like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like you can do all, you can do all of that. So they have some cool moments. Yeah, it was a nice like reminder of the past that Carol had with the Starjammers, how they got all back together. She rescues all of them, and they take Bean back to this, kind of release her out and find these other like Kree experiments.
Yeah.
That were also experimented on around the same time as Bean, and Carol kind of rescues them and takes them back to this kind of hospital facility for them to be safe. And yeah, then she goes a separate way from the Starjammers. So it was like a fun, really just a fun annual issue of a side mission. The care that Carol had for like Bean was really nice to see, and like it was cool to see the character kind of brought back around. She tried to save her, and while she was out in space, Carol rescues her from her ship exploding, but the girl can't survive in space. But Carol's got powers, so she's like, she catches her and tries to like keep her warm with her powers while flying out. She's like really trying to save her. It was really like some thrilling stuff. Yeah, really great. I would honestly give this a 4 out of 5. I thought that the art was fantastic. It was really great to see the Starjammer show back up. I thought that Torrin had a really great like capture of Carol's voice, which was nice. I don't know if he's ever written her before, but to come in on the annual and just really knock it out of the park was great. Like I said before, Carol is the kind of character that you need to have a supporting cast around her to volley her personality off of others so you can see the differences in them. And the Starjammers are great to do that with.
That's cool. It's nice to see Torrin getting more work too. They did the Mighty Valkyries miniseries.
Dope.
Yeah, with Jason Aaron. Okay. So like I really enjoyed that. So it's cool to see them popping up a little bit more.
Dope. Yeah, I really like this issue a lot. Okay, up next and last but not least is X-Men Red. Oh, do you want to give some honorable mentions first?
Sure. I had a lot of books this week though. Moon Knight number 10 came out. Was it 10 or 11? I believe it was 10 came out this week. Also coinciding with the show. The book continues to be really good. Strange number 2 came out. That's a really good showing for Clea and just like kind of getting into her. I think people should really check that out. It's like great. Jed McKay is awesome. She-Hulk number 3 came out. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the She-Hulk fans are mad about that book though.
Why? Because
Jack is in it.
They don't want her with a man.
I don't even think it's that they don't want her with a man, but I think even myself, like I kind of expected the series to be like Jen getting back into her old groove, like doing some fighting, some superhero stuff, and just like kind of going out and about and getting to this mystery of why Jack is back. Really, this entire issue was just them sitting on the couch talking. It's like a romance story. It's them falling in love. And it's like, and it's like while they're falling in love,
she deserves that. Good for her.
She does, right? And then also while we're doing that, we're getting like the history of Jack of Hearts. So they're kind of like telling you how he got his powers and how they work and what he does, and blah blah blah. She like calls Hellcat to talk about him, and they mention her and Tony and how they're together and happy. I thought it was a very good issue. Like for me, as a fan of She-Hulk, as a fan of Jack of Hearts, as a fan of Hellcat, as like a fan of Andy and like the history, like I think the book is amazing. I'm having the absolute time of my life. Like I don't know. Like again, it's not necessarily what I expected, but what I'm getting, I also think is pretty amazing. But my tastes are very niche, so.
Well, maybe we'll get more of that. It's becoming an ongoing, right? It's longer than just the 5 issues.
We'll see. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, so again, I will say, like, if this had just been 5 issues, like the pacing of it is very weird. But like knowing that it's continuing, it's just like, oh, okay. I'll take it for what it is. And then another book I had this week that I thought was like fine was that Earth Prime Batwoman thing. The girl from the CW show was like making her comic appearance, and I just like, I actually hear good things about the show, so the comic itself was fine. I think if you like her, you should pick it up.
Was this her debut into the? I was gonna say main universe, but never mind. It's DC. That don't matter.
Don't even.
All right.
Mm.
Up next is, and our last book of the week is X-Men Red #1, and this is written by Al Ewing with art by Stephen Caselli. And again, I am not afraid to eat my words and talk about how literally just last week, if y'all were listening, I was bitching about being a little bored in my Marvel books. Because people was just doing a lot of talking and no one was really doing anything, or like people's plots weren't moving forward. But this is how you shake it up, and this is how you do it. I knew that this book was going to be good. I've always been into most of Ewing's work, so I knew this book was going to be good, and Caselli's art is great. But it was just still nice to like read an X-Men book and be wowed. So and to see all of the characters just like really well written. And I mean, this opens with Storm. This opens with Storm fighting herself.
You are so funny. I don't think people realize how funny you actually are, but I just think that it's hilarious.
That's just what I'm saying. I love this book. I did.
This was a really good book. I mean, but it's it's an Al Ewing comic. There's no way I was ever going to say anything bad about it, even if I didn't like it. Like, I don't know what you want me to say, but it's like I also would never have to worry about that. But like, no, this was amazing. I loved everything about it. I loved all the character interactions. I loved the little callbacks. You just like you said, characters knowing each other. When like Sunspot called Magneto Headmaster, like
when he told him to take shirt in?
Because I talk a lot about them a long time, and I think sometimes I get it. The dynamic could be a little stale, but the New Mutants are my team. I'm sorry, like those are my kids. Like those are my like those are my people.
That's a squad though. That is a squad though.
Those are my people. And it's like I like seeing those reminders of like obviously their childhood and like what they did together, but more so in reference to like how far they've come. Like that was really cool to see, like with Bobby and Magneto, and it was just like, yeah, this was a really nice moment. The Fisher King moment with Magneto was really nice. Storm, the whole bar scene with Thunderbird being mad at Vulcan after he was fighting Sunspot, and then Brand and Cable come in and drag him and kick him out from Morocco, and like the Iraqi on the side.
When you told him you had a plane to catch,
drag.
I know that shut him up quick.
In every direction. It was just like, and again, like getting more of the Iraqi culture in the book and like just seeing how they interact and like knowing that the Fisher King is there and he's this human guy, but they like respect him because of the things he's adapted from their culture and like what it represents and like how he's telling Magneto that like talking about your pain isn't weakness. And it was just like.
But he's not a human though, right? He's Iraqi. He just don't have no powers.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any powers.
Might as well be a human.
See. Yeah. I also really enjoyed Vulcan in this. Like, Vulcan's one of my favorite characters, and sometimes people can really just think of him as being like bipolar crazy, and he's just always going to go off at some point. Which always is a weird way of looking at bipolar disorder, but also a simple way of looking at him as a character. But the thing that I picked up on this, which I liked that Ewing was displaying, was Vulcan has an issue of being forgotten, because the way that he enters the scene, he's like cussing the Shi'ar man out, and he's like, "What do you mean you don't remember me?" And the Shi'ar is telling him like, "Oh, we're like not allowed to access certain parts of like our history. Like, I don't know who you are." And he's like, "What are you talking about? Like, I was the emperor. Like, the reason you guys are thriving right now is because I was the one who did it. Like, y'all were terrible before. I did come in and I took over with an iron fist. Yes, but everybody was thriving, and it was a prospering empire. How could you forget me?" And then for him to be confronted by John Proudstar, Thunderbird, like, "Oh, what are you doing over here?" They get into this fight, and he's like, "Oh, look, there's another person who, you're one of those people who forgot me on that island. Again, I do appreciate that continuity call out, but
Mm.
like, I'd like that there was this thing of Vulcan really not feeling like is being forgotten, and I think that's a really cool, like, a deeper layer to him than just being an Omega level mutant, you know.
And an antagonist. Oh, look at you! Come on, Vulcan fan. You better give us a little breakdown of the character. That's what I'm talking about.
Characters are thriving a little bit.
They are. They're having a good time. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this issue. I loved everything about it. I'm ready for more. Regis Storm, that's my girl.
The doll. Yeah, love her. Like I've always said before, I had my things to say about Storm before, but Regis Storm is the doll. And she's gonna do what needs to be done. She's got to get rid of Bran. There's only room for one green bitch. There's only room for one.
Well,
she gotta go. Any guesses on who you think is going to join the Brotherhood?
Thunderbird is gonna come back on it for sure.
You think so?
Yeah, it was like, you know, he just protected Sunspot. Sunspot's like, I'm grateful you're here. Even now, he's saying like how he wants to come back to. He needs to find a way to come back to Araco so he can like make even with Cable, who's more than likely on Brand's X-Men team, but probably playing double agent for Storm. I think I'm actually more so excited to see who Brand picks for her X-Men. Because like, I don't know, I might be looking at them a little funny. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. And I like Brand. And I say this is like a Brand fan, but it's like, why are you working with her? What's going on?
Because she's probably gonna try to sell it like it's like, oh, it's the X-Men of Mars.
We'll see.
Having to pick up on it. I bet some new X-Men might join. Some old school heads might be like, oh, this could be fun to be an X-Men for a bit on Mars. Let's get messy.
It's gonna get messy. It's gonna be good. Honestly, like, Storm and Brain is probably gonna like go down in history as one of my favorite X dynamics. I like even the scene of them just walking and she was talking about like, you know, y'all colonize Mars, and Storm was like, hold on now. And they're like just going back and forth because like, and I think that's something that the character of Storm needs. Like, Storm is this character, she is very big and she's very boastful and she has a big presence, and like not too many people are able to stand up to that, or and then like where they usually just kind of like get over it very quickly and fall in love with her. Storm needs somebody who's like not scared of her.
Yes.
And Brand is very much like, oh, I'm not scared of you.
Right.
It was like,
and it looks like in the next issue, Vulcan is going to fight her because he's like, I got as much power as you do.
Yeah, and it's just like she needs someone who is able to like stand up and like call her out on her stuff and like not really back down. And then, but at the same time, she respects her. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no. She's like, I know who you are. Like, I respect everything. But it's just like, you're still not going to do this better than me, which is great.
New Callisto?
Callisto could never.
I mean, new feud with Callisto. Like, you know, is this her new? Is this Storm's new Callisto? Like,
yeah, I guess so. Actually. Ooh. Yeah, because her and Callisto cool now.
Right. Everybody cool now.
Okay. I just went back and looked because I had to like double check with the Fisher King. He said that he was born in the prisons.
Right. So he's Iraqi.
But like, I think he's like a human who was born in the prisons.
That doesn't make sense. How did he even get there?
And that's what we need to find out.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, when Magneto's like, you're human, he says, of course not. Humans are from Earth. I was born in the prisons.
Yeah, he was probably a prisoner on Araco.
He human.
They were bad Iraqi mutants. He just don't have no powers.
He a human.
You know what? That's probably why they had him as a prisoner, because he doesn't have any powers.
His daddy was probably a human.
How did he get to Araco?
I don't know. That's what we're gonna find out. Why the children were in Morocco, and why they were in the prison and had this baby. Because aren't the whole thing about the Iraqi is that they're supposed to like not? Oh, but maybe that's also why he looks like a human.
Yeah, like that's why they had him in jail because he doesn't have any power. Like he's not a warrior like them.
But he still fought
to survive.
Oh wait, he grew up tortured by the vow. Not the daughter took the bribes.
Oh yeah, his daughter like switched sides and left.
Give it Iska.
Let's see. Oh, Iska.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I would rate this issue also a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing.
Same here. I would definitely give it a 4.5 out of 5.
It's that eating magic. I don't know.
It is.
I don't know what else.
Y'all gotta pick this up. I hope that this series continues to go and continues to thrive. I can't wait to see what they do more with like Storm reach on Mars and all that kind of stuff. This is gonna be great. I wonder if they're gonna have crossovers with the other X books.
Oh gosh.
Think we'll have another event like that anytime soon?
No, I don't think we need to do that. They're gonna get a what's it called? A Judgment Day tie-in. But we're gonna talk about that on the next panel. So
okay, we'll wait for that. But you don't think the next like the other 3 X-Men, X-Men Red, and Immortal X-Men might do some like
just those 3 specifically
kind of thing?
Yeah, we can do that. That's cool. I thought you meant with like other books, like X-Force or
No. I mean like the core X-Men books. I know that sounded shady, but you know what? Let's just go ahead and take a break. We'll come right back.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the panel section of the show. So, this was my week to decide the panel, and I don't know if you saw, but earlier in the week they were releasing some like advanced solicitations for books that are coming up, and one of them was, well, 2 of them actually did come out. One was for X-Men Red, and one was for Immortal X-Men. The one in Immortal X-Men was about Exodus and how he is like about to do something big, and they're talking about how the Eternals are there and he's about to remind them who he is and let them know what's going on. And then in the other one for X-Men Red, it spoke about Arakko and their great ring council they have and how Eternal is possibly coming to destroy it and kill everybody. And so if anyone is like following me on Twitter or anything like that, when I have discussed Arakko and Regent Storm and things of that nature, I talk about how I often feel like it's going to be destroyed in some form or fashion. Yes. And it's like not necessarily because I hate it, because I think Arakko is really exciting and everything that comes along with it is really interesting. But I just feel like in a lot of nations or even big things that happen with characters and get into these high positions of power, they'll go through trial by fires. And it's like, what better to give Regent Storm her trial by fire than kind of like kill off the people losing it, and and like having to like build that back up. But again, also even so with the Great Ring, that's another big trial by fire that she might have to experience because that's something that she is still in charge of. And with that, it just had me thinking about those type of stories in general and how people feel about them. I know 2 that are very, I guess, divisive, you could say, for a lot of people are specifically the new X-Men and the Avengers Arena era, where they took in New X-Men, all of those kids died on the bus, and then they were fighting the Purifiers and had all of that stuff going on. And then in Avengers Arena, they had a lot of the youth heroes get kidnapped by Arcade, and he was having them like kind of go through their own battle world, murder world, kill each other and stuff like that. And when it comes to trial by fires, I think they are very interesting. And I think there's sometimes necessity, but I wanted to talk to you and like, all of those who are listening, please be sure to give us your comments and let us know on the Twitter, like in comment section and all that, how you feel about it. But do you think trial by fires are something that are good and necessary, or do you think they can be a little bit excessive and overdone?
I feel like they are both necessary.
Mhm.
And can be a little overdone. I know that's a kind of a cop-out answer, but hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. So, when you have a big lived-in universe like the Marvel universe, there are a lot of characters and there are a lot of personalities and stuff, but you want to give people things, some kind of conflict for them to kind of go through. Otherwise, why are people interested in this character other than the way that they look or just like, I don't know, something superficial with their powers? You want to have some kind of conflict for them. And seeing someone persevere through something is just a great thing to see.
Yeah.
So why not put them through something like that? I think everyone can kind of relate to going through something and going through some kind of challenge and making it out. Obviously, we don't want you on a murder island having to kill each other like in Avengers Arena, which is based off of this movie called Battle Royale, which is a really good
Mhm.
movie. It's this Japanese movie.
And I guess my
Uh,
thing with that, with like, and sorry to cut you off, but it's like, you always want to see your heroes persevere and do something and be something big. But it's like when they're in those situations of like, again, the Avengers Arena, where they're on this battle world and they are kind of forced to attack each other and kill each other, do you think those are the ones that are, I guess, unnecessary? Or do you feel like things like that are okay
no.
because that's the reality? Is that
Oh.
like the reality? And I think again, I remember when Avengers Arena was coming out, it was like people were going crazy, but it's also kind of that thing where you think about if you have these comic books that are supposed to be set in these quote unquote real worlds, like that is probably the reality of being a teen hero.
Hmm.
I'll never forget during The Incredibles, the movie from Pixar, those
Classic.
and the mom was talking to Violet and Dash, and she was like, you think about those Saturday morning cartoons you see with the bad guys and all that stuff, and they're like really excited. And she's like, these people are not that. She's like, they will kill you if they get the
Hmm.
chance. And it's like, do not give them the chance. And it's like, so when you have these teen heroes, that is what they're facing. And so it's always interesting to see how people either kind of don't want them to go through that reality, which I get it. The comic books are a bit of escapism at times, and then you never also want to see it like a character who you're coming to attach yourself die in like a really horrific way, especially when they only have like 5 panels to their name. But
Right.
it's like it almost feels like what you have to go through a little bit in time. Like you said, this is a very big universe. You're gonna start to have a lot of characters in it, and it's like for these heroes, like a big part of that is going to be loss, and a big part of that is going to be like, how big is the loss? But does it just become too much?
I think the follow up to my other side of saying that I think it's a little bit of both is when it becomes too much is when it's repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
So an example of that would be one consistent theme that happens a lot in the Green Lantern stories is someone is always destroying the damn central power battery and then there's no core and then the core got to get restarted and then we and then we do it all over again. And it's always like, oh, well, all of the members are dying and there's only a few
Mm-hmm.
left, and then we reignited and started all over again. Or
Yeah,
same, that was kind of a same kind of repetitive thing that was happening a lot with the X-Men. It was
yeah.
like a cycle of highs and lows. I think that's when it is a repetitive kind of thing where it's like, all right, how many times are we gonna put them through the same
Yeah.
thing? After a while, the trauma isn't really as
Do
traumatic
you
anymore.
do you think a lot of the characters who have gone through those big ones? I think of someone like I don't know if I necessarily want to use. I'll use the new X-Men since they also went. Do you think those characters tend to come off better, or do you
No.
still?
No, I
Oh,
think some of them did because they were able to age up, but I think
yeah.
overall a lot of them end up being defined by that. So now they're always stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And and also where the trial fight I think can be a little bit of a double-edged sword where it's necessary for the character, but then is that all they're ever going to talk about every time you bring them up, or are you able to kind of move them forward? Sometimes they
Mm-hmm.
end up becoming defined by that trauma.
That's actually a really good point. Oh, look at you waking it up. um, Do you have a favorite one? I know John's gone through a couple.
John has gone through a couple, but that's just because, like I said, the Green Lanterns have he in right now. I think right now the Green Lantern Corps, the central power battery has been destroyed, and he's got to restart the core. They always do that to him. So, although I'm not reading his series right now, I might check it out because he got a new costume, and it's hot. It's probably
the
my
new
favorite
suit is
costume.
very hot. I saw it.
So
it looks good.
I might have to go check that out.
You.
And they got me. Yeah, so I might have to check that out and see how he's operating in his trial by fire thing. Again, I do like when my favorites have been in that kind of situation because most of the time I do get to see them kind of strive through the other side. They don't end up becoming that, where they're always talking about being a survivor of something, but they are able to kind of persevere through whatever that kind of trauma is. But as far as favorite ones go, I mean, technically, I did I know you said the John one, but they were kind of hot. I won't even lie. War of the Green Lanterns is probably one of my favorite ones. It's when all the Green Lantern rings stop working and then they being controlled by Parallax. I low key kind of do. I don't mind a mind control story. I know that that might be controversial considering Lorna has been mind controlled a lot, but sometimes those are where you can kind of get some fun things that you can get with the characters where they're able to kind of fight each other and kind of come to some realizations and stuff. So I don't mind that. I don't mind that for the hero versus them fighting over some random ideology. So I did like those for John. The new X-Men one. No, I'm not gonna put that on my list.
You hate them.
Avengers. I don't hate them. I only like a few. Avengers Arena for sure.
That was good. Great. And
honestly, do we count the big ones with DC? How many crises have they had? Do those count as, the?
I don't really know if I count a crisis or a trial by fire, just because I feel they're all going through that at one point in time. I would consider a trial by fire probably something the Titans go through a lot more than anybody else.
Yeah. Your poor Titans.
The poor Titans. They go through a lot of those. I think Superman's kind of going through one right now.
Yeah, the world one for sure.
In the world and what's going on, that's always hot stuff. I do like the new X-Men, so I was a really big fan of that. It's also really interesting when you kind of see those though. Obviously, you see a lot of fan reaction, but I know the creators of Academy X, Nunzio De Phillips and Christina Weir, they've commented on a lot of that stuff, and they were talking about how it was really hard for them to read, and I felt so bad. I was oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They were here are all these characters we created, and I think one of them was based off of a friend they had lost, and he was one of the characters who died in New X-Men. Yeah, and it was bad. I was damn. I was I'm sorry.
It's so bad. Damn. I think I had read that they said that they didn't know that they were going to kill all the characters off.
So they were told that something might happen to a few of them, but they had asked them is it going to be this character, is it going to be this one, and they were no, most of them will be fine, nothing big is going to happen. So they were they bought the first few issues, and then the bus got
put them on the bus.
Wallflower got shot in the back of the head, Quill got shot in the face. It was bad.
That is so nasty. Yeah. Damn.
But
do you feel like sometimes these kind of things happen because they do need to reduce numbers?
Oh, for sure. I think
not out of any kind of malicious intent or anything like that, where it's just more of a business choice of we have entirely too many characters here, so we need to slim this down.
I think specifically for the X-Men, that's probably the brand that gets a lot of obviously the trial by fires, but that was because of what they were. They were always supposed to be this small community of people that was hated and feared, and then they started becoming a nation and people, and it was kind of okay, well, this is getting away from the core of what this story is. So you got to have a Genosha and destroy 3 million mutants. You got to have the Purifiers blowing up a bus full of kids, even though you got to have a depowering from Wanda because kind of reduce it. And it was it just doesn't work because, again, while the story of the X-Men was being hated and feared, it was because they were growing and they were becoming more, and like mutants were becoming born, and so it was like the only real thing you can do is make them a nation. They can still be hated and feared, but it's like now they have a place to be, you know. And it's like you don't have.
It's hot. That's a great idea.
It was an awakening.
It's the new setting. I don't think it's going anywhere.
I don't think so either. I know there's some rumors going around the internet about like people coming to like reset stuff for the MCU, blah 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 blah.
No.
I was about to say you don't cancel the thing that's successful, but they did just cancel Black Widow, so I don't know.
See.
But no, I don't see
they're gonna put a school on that island and call it a day.
And that's it.
Yep.
But you know, I think that's just something that's always kind of exciting to get through. I think also creating, not Krakoa, Arakko was the great pivot, so you don't have to give Krakoa its trial by fire. You can now destroy something that has tons of mutants on it and like have a big repercussion, and like you still keep your island nation fine.
How do you feel about the trial by fire like choices that they always have to make? Usually there's like a character or someone has to make some big choice. For example, in Avengers Arena, it was like X-23. I think it was X-23 and Hazmat where they were having something going on. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, it was I don't want to call her X-23. Wolverine and
I just Laura
and Nico, like when she chopped that girl's arm off.
Nasty.
You know, there's always some kind of like big pivotal moment. Or for example, with Green Lantern John in War of the Green Lanterns, it's when he killed Mogo, because Mogo was the one that was creating new lantern rings, and those were going out and recruiting people to be basically bad. He had to put a stop to it, and he ended up killing Mogo. How do you feel about those kind of big pivotal?
Oh, I love them. But most of my favorite characters are killers in some form or fashion. I'm sorry. So I think that it's really interesting because when they make those big pivotal decisions, they really emphasize how like it kind of sticks with them. And I think it's similar to what you said. Characters can be defined by trauma, but this is not necessarily like a definition in that it's always bringing them sad or it's making them mad. It actually is showing that growth and development of their character. Betsy is a prime example of that. You know, she did the whole like superhero thing and then got transformed by the hand, and then she had this like her entire era started to just become like, I had all of this intention to do this big thing and be Captain Britain. I failed. I started hanging out with these guys. I liked it because they were saving people, but it also kind of made me question like heroics in a completely different way. She had to change. She had to grow. She became a ninja. She started becoming a killer. She got addicted to killing, and then you had to see her kind of like come back from that and grow back to like in the Captain Britain hero thing. And it's like, oh wow, none of that would have happened if she hadn't been going through these trials and like making those hard decisions. This journey would not have felt as fulfilling or just like monumental if she was just like not doing it. Yeah. And always being the better person. Gene?
That's I mean, look at the new X-Men, right? Like they went through all the stuff with the bus, and it has defined a lot of them, but I do think that like kind of really brought a lot of them closer. I mean, now obviously most of them are back alive or whatever, so yeah, everybody's Gucci. But
I do agree there are some characters where that can like kind of drag them down, especially like depending on what they're doing, and like you said, they just get stuck. I remember again, John's a good example. I remember you said like you felt like a lot of his stories were just him being sad about that one thing that happened like so long ago.
Child, they throw it in his face all the time. They always bring up that he killed that planet. It's like, get over it.
It was like okay, it was like in like our time coming, because it was like 80 years ago. Like who cares anymore, you know? And,
let it go.
And it's like at that point, yes, that's when that becomes a deterrent. And it's like maybe he just shouldn't have made that decision at all if this is what we get.
Yeah, I do.
I hope that book is good.
Like, I'm gonna give it a chance. I mean, I do have DC Infinite. I think if y'all don't have that, definitely get it. I think it's worth the purchase. So I'm definitely gonna check it out there. I need to see that new costume.
It looks good. I saw.
And he's not a lantern, but somehow he is. I think he's connected to Will still, so he has his own powers. If anyone remembers I did a relaunch for him, and this is all I've ever wanted was him to get a new costume, have the Green Lantern powers, but without being a Green Lantern and just be a superhero. So like,
Yeah.
it sounds like this is up my alley. So I'm gonna have to see. It might
We'll
be a
see.
situation where I might just be there for him, but everything else might not be that great.
Your Excalibur era.
It's like that sometimes.
It is. And you just got to deal with it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
We love to see.
Yeah.
But that was Trial by Fire, you guys. Like I said, please like, comment, let us know what you think, let us know what you feel about them. What was your favorite? How you felt about Avengers Arena if you were reading comics at the time? Because remember, that was like, the internet was ablaze.
They were arguing.
Let's go
Over some
ahead,
kids they just met. I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
None of my faves died, so
I didn't even know any of those kids. They were all brand new.
And then they introduced, a lot of them were new, and then they introduced the Braddock Academy kids, which was like,
did.
oh, why wouldn't I like this?
They slaughtered them kids really early.
But the one girl who was like plotting against everybody, and she turned out to be like the big villain because she was like also turned mixed with her brother. She was hot.
Yeah, I thought that series was fun.
It was cool. You guys go read it and let us know.
Yeah.
And then we'll come right back.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another watch. And this week we are discussing Moon Knight episode 2. And this was quite a different episode than episode 1.
Yes, it was.
But I think I still enjoyed it.
I got some thoughts.
Yeah, I got some thoughts too. But basically in this episode, we kind of just see Steven with V going on his path to try and figure out what's going on and everything like that with the quote unquote, I guess you could call them dreams he's been having or things he's been seeing. He goes back to his job and they find out that he is the one who vandalized the bathroom because he was fighting the Jackal. However, when they look at the camera footage, there is no Jackal. It's just him running around looking crazy. So he gets fired. And he eventually does, in fact, come into contact with Mark and Khonshu and everything that's going on there, which I thought was like really well done. Like, this is where I feel like the show shines in the way Isaac is portraying the two personalities. Like, he's acting the house.
He is acting. He is acting.
Like, acting the house down. And it's not even just in the way he says things or like the obvious accent that we keep getting for some reason. It's just like the man, the way he gives the guys, like how he'll stand when he's Mark versus how he kind of slouches when he's Steven and things of that nature. And it's just really good. And I also really do enjoy Khonshu in the show. I think he is hilarious. And I like great. Everything he says. I do feel like, I guess I think he
I got something to say. I'm just saying. You know what? I'm just go ahead and say it. Okay, I think that like all the budget went to Oscar Isaac because the CGI wasn't looking too right in some parts, giving Gumby.
They definitely like stretched the budget of the CGI a little bit more than they probably should.
At the same time, I will say Oscar Isaac is also acting down. So it's like, which one did you want?
Up and down. Yeah, you know.
Just one.
And it's like I also try and look at it. I don't know. Like Marvel CGI has always just kind of been like a mixed bag anyway. So it's just I don't know. I don't think I really expected it to.
He pulled the moon boomerangs out his chest, and I was like, whoa.
We'll see. I think a lot of it, and it's kind of like sad because while I do think Khonshu looks good, I feel like there's an element of, I don't know, just fear that I don't get from him from the design. I don't know. I guess I wish he looked a little bit more imposing and like scary. Like I think about him in the comic books, and it's like, oh yeah, this is like a creepy guy. I don't know. Maybe they need to drape his scenes in a little bit more shadow or something like that. But we'll see. We stretched the limits a little bit, but we did also get the debut of our Mr. Night suit in this episode, which let me say this. When he fell off out that like building and he like landed in that Mr. Night suit,
Hot.
Hot. Okay?
Yeah, that was
Like,
hot.
I was like, that looks good. Like, and again, when you look back at the posters or anything that they've released with the show, like that Mr. Knight suit looks good. Shout out to Declan Shalvey for designing that because he went off and they did
Yeah,
a
he
really
did.
good job at adapting it. I did. Now, in this aspect, I also really like the way that they said that the suit was created because, like, that is what Steven was imagining when they were like, put on the suit, put on the suit, put on the suit. And so it's like, that's his
That's how you
version
saw it.
of suits. And I thought that was really cool. And I like that even when he kind of did give Mark control, it switched over to the more super heroic one. I'm interested in that aspect. I know a lot of people, I saw some backlash because of like when Steven was fighting, he was like making some jokes and he was like, oh, like a butterfly, sting like a V, I'm Steven with the V. Um,
I thought that was cute.
I thought it was cute and corny, and I feel like if this is the type of person that Steven is, that's what he'd say. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
also interested in that aspect of like seeing how the two, now that this wall between them has been broken, and that they can kind of like interact a little bit more, how much of their like personalities rub off on each other a little bit, and just the abilities and skills that they have. Because obviously, like we saw Steven do that punch, and he was enhanced by Khonshu, but it was like, oh, that was a pretty nice punch. But it's like, is that something that like you get from Mark? Are you leaning into that a little bit? Because again, I do want to see that suit some more.
Yeah, the
And
suit's
I, and
hot.
I, and I want to see it in like some full action.
I will say that I do think some of the comedy is fine. However, I did not need him to fall over after he made the landing when he made his Mr. Knight, like landing from falling from that building. And like the minute it looked, as soon as he landed, it looked really cool. Then it got cut by him falling over and like making a joke or whatever. And I was like, damn, I really, really wish they like really kept up this like really cool transition
Moment.
that they just kind of nailed. Yeah.
You know, again, like I think the comedy and like the DC, I mean, excuse me, not the DCU, the MCU and like D plus shows are something that's really interesting to see because I think that was a big thing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier too. I felt like it was undercut a lot of times by the humor that they would randomly inject into these moments that were supposed to feel a little more serious or like impactful in that nature. This is another example of that. Again, even it could take away from one of the reasons why I don't really see Khonshu as scary because when Steven was first coming into contact with him in that storage locker area and he pops up on it and then we do the like freeze frame of his scared face and then he's like
I laughed.
It's like, yeah, it's like you laugh because that's something that you normally see in comedy. And it's just like, okay, this is funny. And it's like you get it from the sense because it's like, oh yes, like if I saw something like that, I too would be terrified and probably run. But again, it just kind of like takes away from like, oh, I'm no longer scared. I'm relating and laughing. So
I was scared when he was running through it, but once they did that freeze frame, I was like, oh.
yeah, like, oh, he's not gonna hurt him. It's cool. Yeah. Where before it was like, oh, hold on, who's this guy with his skull?
Yeah.
I'm also still really enjoying the villain of our story and kind of like how they're going. I like the aspect of how he could kind of hear, quote unquote, what Khonshu was saying to Steven and he knew it, and just like the way that they seem to be going. I don't like the wife. And
Is he a new character, right? This villain, Glass Feet.
Yeah.
They just made him they made him up for this, right?
Glass Feet. Yeah, Harold. He's like a mix. I remember when he was first cast, a lot of people and the set photos were dropping, they were kind of trying to figure out who he was going to be, but like it's like a mix of a bunch of different folks.
Now,
the wife does not exist, Layla. She's not real, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on because I hope she doesn't turn out to be Marlene because she's not Marlene. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Maybe she was just another character made up for the show, giving Mark some, or at least the MCU version of him, all new characters. Yeah. Also, so with Moon Knight having other previous avatars, is that something that happens in the comics? Has he ever ran into other previous avatars of Khonshu?
Like, so after Warren Ellis did his 6 issues of Moon Knight, they gave the book to different creators. After that, they gave them their own 6 issues. So I think Jeff Lemire did 6, Cullen Bunn did 6, and I want to say during that time he like first really came into contact with somebody else like calling out for Khonshu, and then obviously in Jed McKay's book right now he's met Hunter's Moon, who is a disciple of Khonshu, but he doesn't really like coming. We know that they exist, but he doesn't interact with them very much or what they do.
Okay, so this is kind of a newer concept then for the MCU, that there were other Moon Knights, I guess, or other avatars of Khonshu, or previous
Not,
ones, I should say.
yes and no. More so like, and I guess how he's like interacting with him. Like he did, it wasn't something that he came into very frequently. You know, and again, like Harrow, while there is a Doctor Harrow in the comics, he's not the same as this Doctor Harrow that we're getting. And that one, he's just like a genius guy who works in a lab or something like that. This one is obviously like a mix with the Egyptian mythology and stuff like that. So it's there, but not a lot.
Okay, so it seems like they really are trying some fresh things or newer things, or doing some different stuff with this show. I'm still intrigued. I would like a little bit more. I would like a little bit more action, I guess. And I do appreciate that they are really getting to the point. They are not cutting corners as far as like the story stuff. They really are getting straight to the point. And
which is, I mean, we only got 6 episodes. You know, I was talking to a friend about that actually. I was like, while I think there are some things that are really good about the shows, I was like, I feel like 6 is still kind of a small number. I think I would have preferred 8 episodes for a lot of these shows, to just maybe give like 1 or 2 more times to like flesh it out, or just get a little bit more. I think the action is going to really come next episode. I'm crossing my fingers to really see that moving, because while he's done a little bit, we haven't really like seen him fight. So it's like, but now that Mark's here, we'll get a lot more Mark, and probably that's what Mark's going to do.
Right. I mean, this isn't my first rodeo with the Disney Plus shows. I know that, you know, episodes 4, 5, and 6 are where it's at. So
that's sad.
We know.
You know, it's also interesting because I've been seeing a lot of talk about how these shows aren't really giving us like the characters. It's showing us more so like how they come into the characters. And that's one thing I will say I'm at least grateful for Moon Knight, is that we didn't have to wait till the last episode to see him become Moon Knight.
No. He already got his Mr. Knight suit.
Like, praise. Because that was one thing I needed, like, at least, again, and I think of something that's like with Sam. I would have loved like 2 more episodes of Sam in that suit.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Well, he get in the movie, so.
I know, right? That's so cool.
You'll get more.
But overall, still very much enjoying the show. Also, Isaac, I think, really is the selling point. We'll see how the CGI goes.
But I think that's where the budget went. Is either do you want Oscar Isaac, or do you want a nice looking suit and CGI? Pick one. You can't have both.
It looks great in pictures, though.
Well, it's fantastic.
Pictures.
Okay.
I kind of want one of those like Mr. Knight posters, like as a poster.
The one of him putting the glove on is hot.
Oh my gosh! And it's the photo for the title card when you pick it. I literally was just staring at it the first day. I was like, wow, this just looks good.
I think guy's good when he was at the end of this episode drinking and he walked outside. He looks real good.
Actually, I think I might do this.
That's a short king.
Ooh, there's gonna be so many Mr. Knights for Halloween.
Oh yeah, for sure. I saw that he just debuted at Disney World, which I think is such a cool thing that I live in a world now where like Moon Knight is like a thing.
That's when Jack of Hearts has his moment.
Okay, you know what? You said it, so like it's probably gonna happen. Jack of Hearts is coming.
I also
gotta pay for it somehow.
I know, right? We'll find a good sacrifice. I do also think that this is the year of Bedlam, so keep your eyes peeled for that.
We'll see. What would you rate this episode?
I give it a 3.
Me too.
Yeah. Acting down. I'm enjoying where the story is going. That's the CGI, you know. It just kind of like took us down a little bit. Which
I'm not English. I'm not from England.
UK Twitter hates this show. Can I say?
I was gonna ask because every other word that Oscar says is like bruv, or isn't it?
Oh, there are so many people from the UK who I've seen. They're like, "Oh, this show is awful." But yeah, it does look like that accent. Again, I was kind of hoping that the accent was going to be something that like he was just doing, and and he'll kind of like get out of it. But it looks like no, he's really going to go with like Steven is British.
Okay.
He's a funny guy.
You gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. Please rate and subscribe us wherever you get your podcast. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Another Relaunch. You could email us anything you got going on at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can find me on most social media platforms at Uncanny LZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lance. There's an underscore at the end.
All right. Boom. Let's get up out of here and we'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace out.